Hello everyone, it's Bob Buter with the 2010 Summer Meditation course, Lesson 4 on Brahmacharya. Now that Sanskrit word has many different definitions. One that I'll be using today is getting in touch with an absolute reality, and the charya part of the word is the dedication or the effort involved in that. And typically we will discuss what's holding us back from being in touch with the absolute reality. And I'm going to try to touch briefly on two topics that are really hard to confine to brevity. But one is a desire for power. May sound above us, but I'm going to apply it to controlling nature. The second is a desire for fame, which relates to recognition from others. Now the class discussion will go in much more detail. I'm just going to get the conversation started. Now, when you think about dedicating yourself to a larger reality and your meditation, and you wonder, how are these types of issues relating to my meditation practice? I don't need to control the world. And I would, of course, beg to differ. We are almost bred to try to control nature. With the technological advances that we have in our culture today, we can push buttons and have the dishes washed and do all these different activities that essentially give us all this free time, and they're supposed to be increasing the quality of our lives from the standpoint of health as well as just general human happiness, but yet everybody's stressed out. So I want to present the idea that while we don't have to become monastic, where a lot of these ideas originate from, living in moderation or living in poverty as the way a lot of monastic people lived, in order to dedicate themselves to this study of the higher reality, we living in the world really need to be careful of how technology and our desire to control things and to be entertained and so forth is causing disturbances in our mind. Now, take this desire for control or power and put it into virtuous activities, like I want to end world hunger. Well, I could be meditating and have a thought that passes by that says, I would love to end world hunger. I could do this. I should work more on that. I want to stop the pollution. What can I do to change all that? Well, all it takes is one or two of those thoughts that we may think are really wonderfully positive thoughts. And I'm going to somehow, in my meditation, in my mind, control the whole world and stop those problems from existing. See, that'll generate some really positive, strong thoughts. But when you're meditating, no thought is positive anymore. You're wanting to let those thoughts go. So we would say, I'm thinking of an altruistic thing, but yet Bob's saying it's a desire and it's not necessarily beneficial. Well, let me explain why. What that thought is based on, I want to control world hunger and stop it. I want to do this. It's all based on the sense that we somehow can control nature. And that's where I would say is our illusion, and that's what generates all these thoughts, which is almost a form of anxiety in kind of a minor way. So you're thinking, I can do this, I want that, I want this, and even though it's altruistic, it generates a million thoughts. So look over some of the questions in the handout that you'll be receiving in the email, and try to think in your life, what are the things that you're trying to assert this power over? And again, not power over other people necessarily, or in the vicious way that we think of power, but just your relationship to nature and your body and health and so forth, people you love, how you're trying to, again, control things that are not controllable. And I think in a latest windstorm we had in this area, as soon as the electric goes out, you see, technology is completely useless, and you're back to living in the dark. And some people experience that for quite a few days. But human beings, the only thing we really have shown that we can control is destruction of nature versus this harmony with. So we can really see how those desires fuel a lot of thoughts. Now the second one was desire for recognition. Did so-and-so not notice what I just did? Can you believe that? You see, and you talk to your friend, and I can't believe that they just passed me over and didn't give me a promotion or this, that, or the other thing. Well, let that happen to you and see what happens to your meditation. You're going to have extremely strong thoughts because your ego is very involved with that. And when I say a strong thought, I mean a ripple. They didn't give me the promotion after all that I did for the company. Well, that ripple is so strong in my consciousness that there'll be tons and tons of thoughts, just like ripples on the pond when the rock gets dropped in. An exercise for that is to learn how to give yourself your own affirmation. So you're essentially famous within yourself, if you will. Of course, the famous part is really unnecessary. Feeling affirmed as a human being is necessary, and that's only something that we can receive ourselves and take upon ourselves. So in terms of the first point that I really just touched on, that you're going to go over more in class and hopefully reflect on, is this whole point about power over nature or power over other things, when it's really impossible as one human being to have that power. So that fundamental premise is incorrect and therefore leads to a ton of thoughts which would frustrate us and stop us from meditating. And the second one is this feeling affirmed as a human being and thinking that we need that affirmation from the outside, which turns into this need to be famous, or you see, need to be well liked in others' eyes, as opposed to affirming ourselves from within in our eyes, if you will. Hopefully that'll get your thought process going and allow you to discover some new structures that are there, and then you can put those structures aside, realign them, and have a deeper meditation. So have a great class this week, and I'm really appreciating the feedback folks are giving on the course in general. I've heard some great things, and again, if there's anything you're struggling with or you have any questions, feel free to email us and we'd love to talk to you about it. Take care.